Greetings, family, friends, and survivors. Well, I've got the garden wrapped and we sterilize the soil this way. It works pretty good, saves a lot of weed pulling in the spring, and you can see we're foggy. Probably burn off, I'm thinking today around noon. And the sun, it's early in the morning, the sun's not up over the mountain, but the reflected light from the fog actually produces some power, which is pretty cool. It's not too cold today. It's about 30 here. So far I haven't killed my flowers, which is cool. So I can see right now we're in a charge state. 1.6 amps going into the batteries. It's about 8:30 in the morning and the batteries are at 54%. And so we had sunlight yesterday, so we went into the evening at 100%. And you see here we're using almost 50% overnight, where before we used to use about 11% overnight, because I had a 21 kilowatt battery bank before, and now I have a 9 kilowatt. So it seems to me that if I doubled the battery bank, I'd only be using 25% overnight. So that's my plan. We're looking for them. Haven't found them yet. I've got some requests out for them sooner or later. I hope to find 3 more of the Tesla batteries in the 24 volt in 7S. I can get the 6S everywhere, and I may have to do that, but the thing is 6S doesn't work well with my 24 volt. I mean, it will, because this inverter will go down to 18 volts, but I sure wouldn't want to run it, that low. I never go below 24 volts with the way it is in 7S. So the bottom line is someday I'm going to have to go to 48 volt. I can see it coming. And if I had known back then what I know now, I probably would have done that. 48 volt makes a lot of sense. With lithium ion, 48 volt with flooded lead acid, my reasoning with it originally was it takes 8 batteries to make 48 volt. If you lose one battery, you're out of luck. So if you have 8 batteries in the 24 volt system and you lose one battery, you still have power. And that was my thinking. Well, I'll probably never go back to flooded lead acid, to be honest with you. So the real and smart thing to do looking forward would be make the switch to 48 volt, and then there's the whole world opens up for used EV batteries. And the 6S 5.2 kilowatt Tesla batteries are available and the price is coming down. But I would definitely go with the Nissan Generation 2. And they're just really easy to put BMSs on now, and the price is coming down on them. I can buy a complete battery for under $2,000. And what would that be? That'd be, I'm not sure what the Generation 2s are, but I think they're about 16 kilowatt that you can get fairly inexpensively, and usually they're swapped out when they still have 80% of their capacity, and they're fire safe compared to the Tesla. So yeah, the thing is the expense of changing out the inverter. So what would I do? I'm probably going to run 24 volt just like I am until I'm forced to either rebuild this or buy a 48 volt. I'm not sure. But right now, 48 volt would sure be nice. It sure would be nice. So we're doing fine. We use a little less than 50% overnight. It only takes about an hour and 20 minutes to, if I have sunlight, to recharge the batteries. So I think we're doing good. And that's also way over 54% because this battery monitor has been told that there's only 300 amp hours of batteries when I actually have 360 amp hours. So I'm very conservative. It's probably considerably more than that. And you could look at the voltage curve. But 26 volts in 7S probably is pretty close to 50% when I think about this particular chemistry, and kind of looking at the charts in my mind that I've seen. We're pretty close to 50% based on that, but that's also under load. At any rate, it is what it is. And so if anybody has a line on the Tesla 24 volt in 7S configuration, let me know. So far, the only ones I know of that are available on the internet are out of the UK, and the shipping would be disastrous, I'm sure. Definitely disastrous. So this whole system, we're hoping that this entire system here at my homestead, the long-term goal is it's all going to go with me, along with the gravity feed water system and the propane on-demand water heaters and the wood cook stove and the super efficient wood stove that I have with a catalytic reburner in it. All of that stuff when we're going to take with us when we sell this place. And so one of the reasons why, and I didn't tell you that I went with the lithium in this particular size battery, is because I'm looking down the road. And in fact, on Friday, we're going to go look at another piece of property. I bid on one a month ago and missed it by $2,000, so it must not have been the Lord's will. So we're still looking at buying something much smaller. I'm getting older. It's getting harder to maintain 41 3/4 of an acre in the Pacific Northwest. I'm wanting to get to a little drier climate where the arthritis isn't tearing me up so bad, and a smaller piece of land. So the solar power system that's at my dad's house, that's going to be the solar and the power for our well. And then these 3 arrays and battery system is going to be for powering the house. And the house that we're going to build, hopefully it's only 600 feet. That's it. And that's all we need. And really, our house right now is over 1,600, and we only use about 600 feet of it. So, yeah, we've had a lot of children, raised a lot of other people's kids. We've taken in homeless people. I used to do the chaplain work at the jail, and we've taken in a lot of people right out of the jail and got them on their feet, got their jobs, got families put back together, CSD cutting the kids loose, and families being formed, and people set free from all sin and vice through faith in Jesus. And that's really what we've been about. I think we've called this place for about 30 years. This homestead has been Resurrection Ranch. So that's what we're about. And we're getting older now, and it's getting more and more difficult to maintain it. So at some point, we'll sell this place and we'll move on to something much, much more manageable. Really, we're talking about 3 acres or less. And I think, and flat ground and dry and lots of sun. It's colder and more snow where we're going, but yeah, I do better in a drier climate. See, right now we have about, it's 31 degrees, 32 degrees right now. It's still 30 inside the greenhouse. It's about 90% humidity. The fog is right above us, and you get 33 degree rain, 33 degree fog, 33 degrees, 100% humidity. It just goes right through you to the bone. And I used to work at 9,000 feet with, 4 or 5 below, 6 below, and wind, but 2% humidity, and I was warmer there than I am here. And so it's a real deal in the Pacific Northwest, in the colder areas where it's humid. And you go east to here, it's very cold, a lot more snow, but it's very dry. And that's what I really need for some of my arthritis conditions, is a drier climate. So this isn't anytime soon. This is probably a 5-year project, making the move. But we might as well be looking for land now. And the first thing we do is we'd go out and put a fence around it. And we're looking for land close to some good friends of ours, so they could help watch the place until we finally get moved over there. So that's what we've got going on. That might explain why I'm going the direction I am with the batteries. Is I want something that's not going to be producing volatile fumes in a small 600 square foot home. And lithium ion's the only way to do that. And yes, if I could move towards a non-flammable lithium ion phosphate type battery, ultimately, if it's in a living quarters, that makes a lot more sense than the Tesla. However, I feel very safe with the Teslas charging where I'm charging them to. I'm only going to 4.05 volts per cell. I'm way below the 4.2 volt peak where the fire danger is, and I've got a lot of safeties on the system where I can't overvolt or undervolt, and it got a climate controlled system. I feel safe putting that in the home or even putting it in an RV. Oh, that's long-winded. Anyway, as you know, we put this place up for sale a couple of years ago and almost bought, so close to buying a place in Bonners Ferry, Idaho, up in Moy Springs, which is a little above Bonners Ferry, a little north, a little snowier. And we were very, very close to buying a beautiful home up on Silver Springs Road in Moy Springs, Idaho, way up in the Panhandle. So close to pulling the trigger on that one, and I lost my peace about it. The last minute, I backed out, took the house off the market, and then just the things that we've gone through with the family and with health and that sort of thing, it would have been disastrous moving up there 4 years ago. And the Lord knew that. So you back up and regroup and pray again. And the Word of God says, let the peace of God rule in your heart. And the word there for rule in the Greek is brabuo, and it's the same as umpire. It means safe or out. You have the peace or you don't. And then the next verse says, and let the words of Christ dwell in you richly. And rich is more than you need. And that's important. If the words of Christ are dwelling in you richly, rich is more than you need it, so you can share with others. And that's a good thing. So let the peace of God rule, be the umpire in your heart, and let the words of Christ dwell in you richly. And folks, if you do that, you can't go wrong. Have a blessed day.